we paid £13,750. Now that is the UK's cheapest Aston. Will it still be the UK's cheapest Aston in a year's time? Keep watching, find out. Well, we've had the Aston for a while now, and I've been driving it around a little bit just locally to try and get a handle on what needs to be done, you know, what you can live with, what you can do yourself, what you need to pay someone to do. And it's sort of alright, but I fixed a few little things. The door handle that kept coming off, that was so annoying. I just fixed that with a washer under it. But the main thing, if you remember our initial video on the car, we couldn't get it out of park every time because of the dodgy brake light switch. Aston Martin wanted 200 quid plus your VAT for the part. I used XJS part, which is absolutely identical. 10-minute job to fit, and now it comes out of park every time the brake lights work. Job done. When you get up to speed, the driver's door is a little bit noisy. There's a lot of wind noise around the windows, and they're a frameless design. And the door seals are 600 quid each, brand new. I saw this one for sale used, and I thought I'd grab it while I can because there is a little split in ours. And this one is off a lower mileage car, so I might not fit it just yet, but I'm going to hold on to it as a useful spare anyway. The car had the wheels refurbished and they've been done nicely, but they've not bothered doing the centre caps. Don't know why. You could get centre caps, you know, off eBay or whatever, and you know, plastic domed ones that sort of look alright. But I found an Aston Martin dealer selling like new old stock. Got some genuine ones here, set of 4, 50 quid. I don't think that's too bad, to be honest. Probably pay the same from a BMW dealer, wouldn't you? As is always the way, I'm going to have to take each wheel off individually and pop the caps back from behind. The original jack that would have come with the car needs special fitting because it's an XJS floor pan with the knob on for the factory jack. So I made a bit of MDF with a hole in it. Health and safety may want to have a word later on, but this is just a used XJS one. I mean, I don't know how old it is, but it's a jack, isn't it? The ABS isn't working on the car. And we managed to diagnose it by plugging in a scanner and telling it was a 1999 Jaguar S-Type. Thinking naturally, I thought I'll pop a sensor in first of all, and this cost me the princely sum of £17 brand new. It's XJ one. Again, Aston Martin, I'll have well over £100 off you for an ABS sensor, so I'm not paying that when I can get one for 17. But I think the fault is actually the connecting wire, what's called the link wire, from the sensor to the wiring loom under the back seat. I've got this one which is off a X308 generation XJ8. Fit that and hopefully we'll reset the ABS light and then we'll get working traction control, which is a real bonus because this is a hard car to drive in the wet with no traction control. Oh, and finally, I have acquired a pair of heater blower motors. Aston Martin will happily have £1,000 off you for each one. They're Jaguar parts, aren't they? Of course they are. 2 of these used, 30 quid. Well, rude not to, isn't it? And one definitely needs replacing. So that's a bigger job though. I'm not going to do that today, but I'm going to look at this ABS wire in a minute. So here's the ABS sensor I took off. As I mentioned, I probably didn't need to change it because the fault was actually with the chafed wire. But it's a handy spare. They're not handed left or right, so I'm going to keep that, and if we need one on the right hand side, job done. And the sensor lives here on top of the hub casting. It's a simple fit, it really is easy to change, just one bolt and it pulls out. Being a plastic one, of course, it doesn't tend to seize in. So the wire that connects it, the expensive wire, goes all the way down here, and it's then cable tied, curiously, and I don't really see why. I mean, it seems like a stupid thing to do because it's always going to get damaged by road dirt or a jack, as simple as that. Anyway, it goes, disappears up under there somewhere, and it ends up under the back seat where there's a hole. You'll find the inner end, and that's the round style XJS XJ40 plug, and it just connects in here. It looks to me like it was almost done by hand, perhaps by Aston Martin, to create a hybrid XJS S-type system, and I don't see why you couldn't simply pull this plug off and solder it and heat shrink it, and it's going to be a lot cheaper to do it that way than to buy the genuine Aston part. And this lives inside anyway in the dry, so I don't think you're going to cause any problems, and you could probably do just as neat a job of it as they've done from the factory. It's a simple job once you know what you're doing and you've got the parts. Yeah, you just feed it through this. Yeah, I've done that and it's fine now. So with working ABS, we've also got working traction control, which is pretty useful. One of the problems we had with the car, every time you started it, the alarm would sound just woo woo a couple of times. It was a bit embarrassing, especially on a fancy car like this. People say it's because the battery voltage is dropping when you with the voltage drain from turning the engine. But I thought I could fit a new battery, probably be fine, wouldn't it, for a bit, and then it would happen again. So I thought laterally, got under the inner left-hand front arch, got the liner out, and took the Siren out. I just unplugged it and took it away. I don't think anyone is going to miss this. I've kept it anyway. You could put it back in. Immediately after that, I left the car for a couple of days. There was a cold snap. The battery died completely, so I've had to buy a new battery anyway. Luckily I got a good deal on a Bosch one, so it's rather better than the shoddy one that came with it. I went for a decent battery. I think it's was it 74 amp hour, but it's got quite a good cranking capacity. And I've made another refinement. I've put these insulated covers on the terminals. It had nothing here, and I know the boot carpet's only plastic really, but you know, it's not going to short the battery out. But I just don't like the idea of having the bare terminals like that. The battery's not even in a case or anything. I just thought it was a bit unsafe. You've only got to drop something metal on it, and you know, you've got an explosion or a fire. So you know, for the couple of quid they cost, I think that was a good job really. These bolts are ones I put in. It actually didn't have any bolts holding the battery down. It had one bolt sort of ground in, ruined the thread and didn't hold the battery down, so well done, whoever did that. I mentioned that I'd got a spare wheel for the car, and it was something I really wanted to do with all these smart motorways, and I'm fairly sure if you split one of these tyres, you know, you won't be able to buy a replacement the same day. And sometimes you just want to get off a motorway. A space saver will do that for you. So I thought laterally, and I got an 18-inch space saver from a Jaguar XK8, and I've measured up the diameters and gone on to the wheel size calculations and everything, done some maths. It's within a few millimetres of the original alloys. It's exact on the front and just a couple of millimetres on the back, I think. The crucial thing, of course, is you want it to clear the brakes, and it's a heavy thing, so I'll do my back in showing you, but it does clear the brakes. The car's in park at the moment because it's on a jack, but it will rotate and it will clear the brakes. And that is going to get you out of trouble, I think. Does it fit in the boot? Well, yes it does. You can stand it vertically and it fits easily, but you can't shut the boot because the big boot hinge hits the tyre. And you can't move it to the right because you've got the battery in the way. So your solution is either to cant it over backwards, which isn't very elegant, or once you've noticed this particular feature of the bodywork, the curve that's already pressed into the wheel well here, then you do this. You lay it down so that the tyre's just creeping inside that recess there, and it works fine. You can put the original boot floor on and it won't go completely flat, but you could fabricate an extra side support so that it sat flat with no trouble. You can still get luggage in, you can still get some tools in under the wheel. It doesn't take up that much boot space. The original boot tray was all smashed and broken. It's terrible thin plastic, so I don't think we've really lost anything there, and we have gained a spare wheel, so job done. With working brake lights, working ABS, working traction control, a new battery and a spare wheel and a jack, plus a few cosmetic fixes, the Aston's slowly but surely becoming a bit more presentable. The real takeaway from this though is the cost saving you can get by being sensible, buying clever, buying used and substituting equivalent Jaguar parts. On just this small selection of parts we've saved ourselves over £3,000, which is getting on for the cost of an XK8 in similar condition. People do mock the DB7 for being a load of Jaguar and Ford bits, but sometimes that's really not a bad thing.